This
roof?
conference will now be recorded.
I'm sorry?
Did you mean for that sign to sit on the roof without any space between the roof and the sign?
That's correct, yes.
And the way it's depicted there, it is those dimensions of 60 inches and by 10 inches, right?
Well, I think it's 20 or 30 inches high.
Oh,
Basically, yeah.
well, I'm confused then. You show it as 10 inches high by 60 inches wide. What's the?
It's 60
What's
inches
the
wide. It's 20. I think it's 30 inches high. Unless my writing's real bad.
Yeah,
Bill?
I thought. Yes.
Bill, this is Ginny. It looks
Hi,
to
Ginny.
me as though the first digit of Tony's dimension indicator there was cropped.
Oh.
It looks like 10, but if Tony, it looks like 10, but it's
Oh.
obvious from the sign that it doesn't fit the visual. 10
I
inches. doesn't
gotcha.
fit the
Yeah,
visual.
that was confusing to me. Okay. Tony, let me make a point here. It's Bill McBride. We'd rather not see that sign sitting right on top of your roof like that. We'd like to see some space between the sign and the roof for a number of reasons. One, just the appearance of it. And I understand why you can't. I would suggest you raise it 3 inches off the roof, keep it centered left to right the way it is. I don't want you to lose it because of the above roof overhang, but I think you could go up 3 inches.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a problem.
How do anybody else on the board feel?
This is Ginny. I think that's a good suggestion, Bill, but could I suggest that it be raised to make it easy for Mr. Diuto, if it's raised the width so that the width of one clapboard is exposed? The reveal of one clapboard is exposed.
Yeah, okay, that would be a little more than 3 inches. Okay.
That's good.
As long as that doesn't put his sign up underneath the roof, I don't think it would it?
Doesn't
It
look like I think. Yeah, that's not a problem.
It doesn't look like it to me.
Okay, all right. Okay, anybody else have any thoughts?
I
Hello?
do, Bill.
Hello?
Yep.
I do, Bill. This is Ginny.
Uh-huh.
If you go down the stairs to Mr. Diuto's shop, the door to his shop is not on the back side of the building. It's right at the bottom of the stairs. I wonder if, Tony, have you thought about putting a sign on your door or have some kind of indication to people as they go down the stairs that that's where the door to your store is?
I just have a sign in the window. I prop up a little sign right next to the wall that so people that are parking know
Okay.
where I am. But I bring that in
Okay.
every night.
Okay, I was just a little concerned because when I went to look at it, I didn't realize that your door was actually in that passageway. It took me a minute to. Now I had a helper with me who showed me where it was. But if you feel it necessary, you might want to consider adding something to indicate where your where your door is. Is there a light
Jenny?
over? Yes, Steve.
Yeah, I had suggested putting an arrow on each side of the sign pointing down.
Yeah, well, I think down is kind of obvious because it's over the stairs, but
Yeah.
there's a landing at the bottom of the stairs, and it's not. I'm just making a suggestion to Tony so that he can decide if he's not getting enough traffic, he might think about that.
I've thought about it. I'm going to see what happens. I mean, right now I'm concerned about most of my regular customers, and they seem to be finding me no problem. So
Okay. I
see
had
what
another,
happens with the walk-in, obviously depending how the holiday season is and all that.
Tony, I had another question about the material of the sign.
Hmm?
You added a photograph of the material, and is it hollow?
No,
Every time we go to click on it, it turns into a cursor.
So is that the case? Are there, is it almost like a honeycomb?
yeah.
Will the edge of the sign be trimmed out in any way so that those openings are not available for water to enter the sign?
I had the exact same sign in the other place, and it held up fantastic. I mean, if you look at it,
Okay,
held
so
up.
there was no, you don't have any problem with water getting inside the sign and then dripping out on the building? I'm
Oh,
worried
yeah.
about it. I'm worried about it dripping out onto the building and damaging the wood behind it, but if you had the same thing, then that's fine.
No, I had it up for 20 years at Northfield Common, and I gotta be honest, I was just as surprised how well it stood up. No, I never had an
Okay.
issue with it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, this is Bill McBride. Any other comments from any other board members on the sign?
I haven't got it.
No comments? Then I'll ask Jenny Searle to make a motion to approve.
At a meeting of the HPB on November 9th, 2020, the following motion was made. Virginia Searle made a motion that the HPB approve as submitted the application for a sign made by Tony Diuto at the property located at, I'm sorry, I don't have the address up. Tony, what's your address?
7 Showing Place.
7?
7
Seven
Showing
Sher-
Place. Suite
Okay,
5.
7 Shone Place.
Don't really want to have to hold it.
Approval of this application is subject to the following conditions, none.
Nope.
Wait a minute. We changed
I'm
the,
sorry, yes, you're right. Okay, let me revise that. The motion, I make a motion that the HPB approve with a condition that
Which one is it? I got a lot of things.
the sign be raised from the illustrated position to expose
Why am I not getting
the width of one clapboard at the bottom.
okay. Anything else, Jenny?
No,
Okay. Linda, would you call the roll?
you need a
Yep.
second. You
Oh,
need a
yeah.
second, Bill.
Second?
Linda, would you call for second in the roll?
Oh,
Lisa
do we
Cole
have a
will
second?
Lisa
Lisa
Cole.
Cole? Okay,
Okay.
and now Chairperson McBride,
You know what
Yes.
date you should have sent the original?
Member
link?
Cole?
I never got-
Yes.
Member Searle,
Yes,
There's
Member
no
Harrington,
after
Yes.
and Member Morrow.
week for the October meeting.
Ken?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, I got one. I got it.
Okay,
Can I-
approved. Good. Congratulations, Tony. You have a new sign.
Thank you.
There's a live and breathe.
Thank you, Tony. Can I make a suggestion, please? This is Lisa Cove. Can everybody please mute yourself unless you're talking, because there's a lot of background noise.
Yes, yes.
Good thought.
Would you
Yeah,
please do
Tony.
that? And if you're not talking, mute yourself.
Yeah, Tony?
Yep.
Yep, still need to get a building permit for the sign, all right?
Where do I go?
The other email came in.
Right on the village website, under government forms and documents, building inspector,
And the permit, okay.
all right? Thank
Yep,
you.
I sure will. Thank you. Am I all done?
Yes, you're all done.
Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good rest of the meeting, folks.
Thank you. Thanks,
You
Tony.
too.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is for 66 South Main Street for a freestanding dry stacked stone wall. And do we have Elisa Plummer in the audience?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Good. Hi, Lisa. Lisa,
Hello. Hi.
Bill McBride, would you describe what you propose to do, please? And would you also tell us about what you found that's analogous to your situation?
Well, the idea was to have a low stone wall, sort of a country stone wall, freestanding stone wall, dry stacked, which would be consistent sort of with how those stone walls were traditionally built, and built from stone, so it's compatible materials with my house, which is my house is about 1870, 1872. I didn't match the stone to the cobblestone foundation. They're compatible materials, but are not to mimic the stone foundation. It's its own unique stone wall. And I think I sent in, I know, Linda, were you able to send out the photograph of the property? Oh, thanks so much. Thank you. It's a house that's actually very similar to mine. It's built roughly in the same era, right on the corner of Sunset and Jefferson, and has the low stacked stone wall. So that was the inspiration.
I just have one question on that. So.
Okay.
Is the layup that you're doing on your wall, is that going to be a dry stone or a wet stone?
It's a dry stacked stone wall.
That's great.
Yeah, it
certainly honors the period.
It's really you know, it's built by a master stonemason from Bosnia. So,
that's terrific.
Yeah.
And I might add that Lisa has the proper setback from the property line and the sidewalk, and the height is certainly within the height of a front stone wall that we require. Anything else to add, Lisa?
This is Lisa Cove. I just have a question for Elisa. In our packet, there's a certificate of attestation of exemption. Why do we have that? I'm just kind of curious. I've never seen that in our packet before.
Well, Steve probably could speak to it a little more clearly than I can. It's basically an indemnification for insurance. Steve, do you want to add to that?
Sorry, Alyssa, it really didn't need to be in the packet. I don't know why it ended up in the packet, but it needed to be just for the function, for her to have an exemption from comp for the gentleman doing the work on the property. I didn't notice it was in a packet, otherwise I would have had it removed.
Okay.
Kind of threw me too. Okay, any other discussions, questions by board members?
Nope.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that, you know, it's a stacked stone wall, so it's not real property. And this is a little bit for future reference. I think if you get in the area of 3 feet, you know, it starts to need a foundation, which would be a whole nother thing. And, but this one does not require that, so it's a stacked stone wall, not real property.
Right. And you have no
That's it.
issues with this, Ken?
No, it's fine. I think it's great.
Okay, any other discussions, points by any board members, please? All right. Would you, Ginny, would you like to make a motion for approval, please?
Yes, I'm happy to, but I'm going to suggest in the future that other board members take a turn at this because I think it's important for our credibility that more than one person makes motions. I'm happy to do it. At a meeting of the HPB on November 9th, 2020, the following motion was made. I make a motion that the HPB approve as submitted the application for, it would be other, and that is a dry stack low stone wall made by Alyssa Plummer at the address indicated on her application form, which I had to go back the page so I don't have it. No conditions. I would add as findings of fact that this stone wall does not negatively impact the resource, and the stone material is compatible with and in keeping with the stone on the house foundation.
Do we have a second?
I second Lisa Cove.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Chair McBride,
I approve.
Member Cove,
Yes.
Member Searle. Member Searle, Ginny?
Did we lose Jenny?
Jenny's,
I'm sorry, I had muted myself. Yes.
Okay, and Member Harrington
Yes.
and Member Morrow.
Approved.
Okay, motion
Okay.
passes.
Lisa, it is approved. And you just need to get in contact with the village office to get your paperwork.
Wonderful. Thanks, everybody. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 6 Elmbrook Drive for windows. Do we have someone from 6M representing 6 Elmbrook Drive on board?
Yes, this is Chris Booth and Gail Booth, the homeowners.
Okay. Would you folks tell us what you're proposing, please?
Yes, we have a total of 32 windows in the house, 22 of which have previously been replaced by the prior owners. We have a total of 10 that remain that we wish to replace to match the other 22 windows in the house.
Mm-hmm. And let me just say that this board asked that you reach out to, and I think you were given the names of some specialists who can repair windows like this, and you reached out to those 3 people. Would you describe what happened?
Yes, one of the people we tried multiple times and did not respond. We then did get to talk to one of the 3 that did talk to us and basically said from his perspective, if the rest of the windows have already been replaced, it makes sense to replace the remaining 10 so that they will all look the same. And also pointed out that on the outside of the windows, we have aluminum storm windows in any event which could go away. So in his opinion, it made sense to replace the 10. The 3rd person was from Buffalo, did not respond. The person that did respond to us did call him in Buffalo and did talk to him. And he basically said he was not interested in participating.
He wasn't going to drive out here to take a look at them.
This is Jenny Searle. May I ask the person who you called that did not respond to you?
So Kurt Rigel is apparently, I believe, retired. Our contractor, Bob Rowe, reached out to him. He did not respond. Steve Swyat is the one from Buffalo. One of his associates reached out to our contractor. He asked if he call us. He never did. The only person who spoke to us is Steve Jordan, and he's the one who rendered the opinion. I sent it in an email I believe I sent it to Linda. I sent a synopsis of it to Steve, the building inspector, as well.
Mhm.
We've done, I think, about really everything that we were asked to do.
This is Jenny Searle again. I'd like to thank you for making that effort to contact window repair specialists. I know Steve Jordan personally. He's a preservation colleague of mine. And I also have spoken with Steve Swyatt many times regarding window projects that I was involved in while I was working. And I will speak to both Steve and Bill McBride about the contacts that the village now has. I know Steve Jordan had sent a letter to the village that I made sure the village had, stating that he was not interested in doing this sort of thing. So I apologize that you had an unfortunate experience with the specialists that were recommended to you. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Well, let me add to that. Would the applicant tell us, beyond saying that Steve was not interested in working on the project, what he had to say about the replacement, please?
Steve Jordan or Steve Swyatt?
Oh, I'm sorry. Your letter was from Steve Jordan, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have his comments in writing, Bill.
Okay, everybody has it? All board members have it?
We should.
This is
Okay,
Lisa.
yes.
This is Lisa Cove. I have a question. The windows that were replaced before by the other homeowner, were they in a certain area of the house?
No, there's all of the upstairs windows essentially and some of the downstairs windows.
Okay, and the windows that you want to replace now, are they in a certain section? Are they front-facing windows? Are they windows towards the street?
Towards some of them are towards the street and some of them are on the side of the house on the first floor.
So are there any windows that face the street that have already been replaced by the previous homeowner?
Yes,
Yeah.
a number of them.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the majority of them, right?
This is Jenny Searle. May I ask another question, please, of the applicant?
Sure.
Applicants? Just for the record, what is your reason for wanting to replace the windows?
The reason for wanting to replace the windows are they're drafty, even with the aluminum on the outside, they're drafty and in a state of disrepair in the sense that they don't go up. Some don't go up. Some of them, once you get them up, you can't get them down. But the main thing is we want all the windows on the house to look the same, and we've got 22 windows that are newer, and 10 that don't match.
Okay. I understand that. I will just make the comment for your information. Should you buy another old house with windows that are not fully operational, the problems you've described, I suspect could be repaired. And I think that Steve Jordan made that comment in his in his email. Was it an email to you or a letter to you?
Email.
Whatever. Yeah, in his email to you. I think he said that in general, those types of issues are repairable. But it's my opinion at this point that considering the number of windows that have already been replaced and your desire to have a cohesive appearance, it's never my opinion that windows should be replaced if they can be repaired, but I understand your rationale, and in this instance, I think having a unified appearance at this point is preferable to retaining the original windows.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let me add this for clarification purposes. These windows that you want to put in are the exact same windows that were previously replaced throughout the house.
Yes,
And they are all wood in the exact same dimensions as the existing window. Is that correct?
Yes, they are, and they're the same manufacturer.
Okay,
Is
any other issues, questions, concerns?
Yes, this is Lisa Cove. So these windows are all wood windows being replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
The windows, this is Ginny Searle, the windows that you are removing are wood, the windows that you are installing are vinyl. That's what your application, Steve,
No.
you're shaking your head. That's
No,
what the
no.
application states.
No, the windows from last month's application, or if it was month before, are all wood windows being replaced with all wood windows.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
My only point is that the application states that new windows are more energy efficient and made out of vinyl.
That wasn't the application they originally put in, Jenny, and
Excuse me.
they gave cut sheets. They gave cut sheets of the
Right.
proposed windows as being all wood.
Stop, Steve. I'm sorry. I do not have that application in front of me. I apologize entirely. I'm looking at the next application on the agenda because my agenda did not show that. Pardon me. I apologize.
Yep, I think it's clear from my viewing of the application, these are all wood windows exactly as the windows that had been previously replaced.
Oh, this is Lisa Cove. I guess I'm kind of confused as to why we didn't approve them to do a wood to wood replacement. I'm surprised by that. That's why when Ginny made that comment that these were vinyl, that made more sense to me. So if we are for sure that these are wood replacing wood, I'm surprised we even made these applicants go back to try to get them repaired. But so we're clear though, they are wood replaced with wood.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Lisa, I think the reason that the board did not approve them at the first meeting was the general rule that we repair rather than replace.
And so, Lisa,
thank you, Jeff. This is Ginny again. That was my intent, that the applicant pursue repair of the windows and not just replacement without making an effort to try to repair the existing original windows.
Okay, thank you,
for
Ginny.
everybody's clarification, we provided 3 names of people who could possibly do the repair, and the results were as the applicant has stated. So we went through the process that they went through the process that we asked them to.
Okay, so Ginny, just when you make that motion, I think that we probably should put that findings of fact down on that motion sheet so that we should make sure Linda has it in the minutes. All the information about that we had requested them to look into somebody to repair them. They had 3 people, you know.
Why don't you make the motion, Lisa? You're already half into it.
Well, I don't have anything else here, but do you want me to?
Well, I'd like to make a comment before we move on. And that is, and I think this is a very common thing in these meetings, is that people have windows, they typically have ropes, they won't go up and down, people find them to be drafty. And in 2000 or 1998, you know, I did 100 windows in this house, and they were about $100 each, and it didn't require like a super. It required a carpenter to get it straightened out, and the drafty part could be eliminated by putting in a chain spring system instead of a rope. So, and you'd have the original wood windows still there, which I think are superior to these replacement windows, even if they're made of wood. So I'd just like to bring that up for this one, as well as for the future. I looked at this house yesterday. It seemed like all the upstairs windows had been, by the way, it's one of my favorite houses in the village, so you guys have a great house.
Thank you.
You know, it seemed like all the upstairs windows had been replaced and the downstairs windows hadn't. I thought it was really interesting that it seemed like just for future reference for people, like the aluminum storms had been painted. They actually look really good. I might have to do that on my house. And, you know, so how did the upstairs windows get replaced?
We're not the owners that were the owners when they were replaced.
Okay.
Yes, half of them downstairs have been replaced as well.
Yes, there were some downstairs. Ken, let me address your comments this way. That was our rationale the last meeting, and we said we're going to give you the names of 3 people who could come in, look at that, and possibly do the repairs. We've been through that. That was a dead end, as you heard. So I think they did what we asked them to do, and we didn't get anywhere with that. So I think we're now in a position where we either turn this down or we say, please replace these windows with the exact same window that you replaced a number of years ago, that are all wood windows for all wood windows. I think that's where we are here.
All right, can I
Ginny?
just ask a question for general interest? What's
Okay.
it cost to replace one of these windows?
The total cost of the project is over 30 grand.
How much is that a window?
I don't know, you'd have to do the math.
Sure.
Like over
So-
$1,000?
Yep.
Okay.
You're
so-
replacing,
Yeah, that seems like a high number to me, but I don't mean high, I mean for my budget. But, you know, just for your reference, I bet you could do this for 200, 300 bucks a window. I think the other issue, which I'm very aware of.
Ken, let me stop you here. We
Yeah.
haven't been able to find anybody who would do that. Okay, we tried.
Well, I think the village needs to get a new list. But moving on to what I was saying, you've got 2 different appearances of windows on the house now, seemingly, at least from my point of view, upstairs and downstairs.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. These are the exact same windows that.
No, I mean the way it is now.
Oh, yes, yes.
So, I suppose I can go with what the applicant would like to do. So I'm just trying to let them know that, it's certainly possible to do it for less, but maybe you'd like to do it the way you're proposing. So, there you go.
this is
Okay.
Lisa. This is
Go
Lisa
ahead.
Cove. And for clarification, so you are requesting to replace 3 windows.
No,
Is that correct?
no.
Okay, because the application here says we are replacing 3 kitchen windows with the same style window. I don't
Wrong
see.
application.
No,
Wrong
no,
No,
application.
that's the next that's the next person
Wrong
talking.
application, Lisa.
Sure.
You and I are having the same problem, Lisa. The application that I'm looking at
Wrong
does not have 6 Elm Grove in it.
This
Nor
is
does
a
it have it on the
continuing,
list.
Come on, guys. This is 6 Elmbrook, okay? 6 Elmbrook.
this is a continuation from a month before.
I understand that, Steve, but it was not listed on the list of applications to be heard this evening that I received.
Exactly, me either. I don't even have it on my.
If it had been, I would have gone back to look at that application, but it was not on the list, so I was confused. And Lisa was as well.
You're right,
Me
we probably should have included the original application again, so there was no confusion,
Or even just get it on the list.
Yes, get it on the list.
It's on the list. It's 6 Elm Grove.
It's not, I probably opened up, Linda, I probably opened up the first packet that you sent rather than the second, and that's my mistake.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was added later. Yep. Sorry.
I apologize, applicant. I apologize, Linda. I apologize, fellow board members. I'm confused.
Yeah, and the other thing is on the sheet, it shows Robert Rowe instead of Gail Booth. That also probably is a little bit of confusion.
Correct.
Okay,
Because
we all
Robert-
straightened out now? Anybody have anything else they'd like to add to this?
I just like to say I think the applicant has done an extraordinary job in trying to match up these windows, and having had to redo my old house with about 100 windows in it, and wanting to honor that style of the house was built in 1910. It is an enormous undertaking and incredibly expensive, as most everybody here probably knows. But I just would like to thank you for all of that diligence and looking through that and understanding all of the detail of it. Thank you.
Okay, all right. If there's no other comments, then Ginny, I'm going to ask you to do the motion because you were intimately involved in the first.
Okay. At a meeting of the HPB on November 9th, 2020, the following motion was made. I make a motion that the APB approve as submitted. Approve as submitted the application for window replacement made by Mr. and Mrs. Booth at 6 Elm Grove. Not as conditions, but as a statement of findings of fact. At the first review of this application, the applicants were asked to pursue options for repairing the existing windows. They were given 3 names by the village for repair. 4 names? 3 names. 3 names for repair carpenters to come and look at the windows without success. 1 person never replied. 1 person said it was too far away. 1 person gave an opinion regarding the windows. That opinion, I believe, will be included with this application. As for findings of fact, the applicant diligently pursued repair options as requested by the board without success in order to provide a cohesive appearance on the building, on their home. These windows are being replaced with the same manufacture and size of window, manufacture and material as the previously replaced windows. And let's see, what else was there? Oh, they will be the same size and configuration as the existing windows to be replaced. That's the end of my motion.
Do we have a second?
Okay. I'll second. Bill McBride.
Okay.
Okay, Chairperson McBride?
I vote yes. I vote yes for approval.
Okay, Member Cove?
Yes.
Member Searle?
Yes.
Member Harrington?
Yes.
And Member Morrow?
Yes.
I would like to add one thing to the findings of fact. Excuse me, findings of fact. If I could, please.
Okay.
Let's see. While replacement of existing historic building materials such as windows is generally not recommended, the house has been significantly modified from its original condition by the previous replacement of the majority of the windows in the house. And therefore, the application does not present a negative impact on the resource because it has already been highly altered.
Did we state that the new replacement windows are exactly consistent with the existing windows?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, good job. Okay, you're approved, folks.
Okay,
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Well done.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good job on that motion. Vinny.
Figure out how to-
Get a hold of me, Boots, for the building permit, please.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is 9 Green Hill Lane, windows.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm here to request that we get 3 replacement windows for our kitchen. We are trying to come up with a cost-effective way to get rid of some of the draftiness in our kitchen. We have a lot of drafts. We have windows, once again, that are hard to open and close. They're their original 1960s windows. Quite frankly, they're very junky. And we're just looking to try to find something that looks very similar. We're not moving windows. We're keeping them in the same spot that they were in. Just replacing with something that's cost effective during the COVID time and trying to get something that is looks exactly the same. So we're getting a colonial grid style window. The only difference is that it is vinyl instead of the wood. So that is the difference. But I think it's a nice upgrade to the home. And so that is our request.
And Bill McBride, Elizabeth, what the rest of the windows on your house are original? Is that correct? And they're vinyl?
No, they are original wood. I live in a post-war neighborhood. It was built in 1968, so a lot of the houses in this neighborhood do have vinyl windows. I would say you can walk around the neighborhood and half the neighbors have vinyl already in their home. So this would kind of fit right into the neighborhood. And like I said, they're top of the line, cost effective, very energy efficient windows.
And these are the windows that exist underneath the roof, the front roof of the house, visible from the street, but not easily visible. Is that correct?
Right, right. And there's 3 of them in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've had this issue before. How do the board members feel about this? I'd like to hear everybody's opinion.
Is this this is Jenny, is this the application where the windows are on a bump out? I'm sorry.
Jenny?
Yes, I'm having trouble. I'm trying to find the second application that came because
So it's 9 Green Hill Lane?
No, I know that. We received more than one application packet this month. Since I already know I've opened up the incorrect packet, I want to try to get back to the correct packet.
This was on the original packet you got too, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but what?
Elizabeth, this is Lisa Cove while Ginny's looking.
Hi.
Did you look into seeing if you could get all wood windows?
I have not looked into that. My preference is just for something that's energy efficient. I don't know much about the wood windows. I heard the last person say that it's difficult finding someone to restore wooden windows, and I don't know the price point. I have 5 children, so I'm looking for something that's not super expensive.
Would you be willing to look into window replacement or repair? Because that's really where we like to start. Is it something that you would be willing to look into?
Yeah, I'd be willing to look into it, sure. Sure, but then is there another alternative, if that doesn't work out, can we go back to this or what?
Sure. I can come back to this. This is Jenny Searle again. before you do, let me get some other names to the village, because I don't want to give you the same names that the
Right.
previous applicant had difficulty with, because you are wanting to replace a smaller number of windows, and people are
Mhm.
going to be even less interested in coming to repair them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The other thing I want to make a note to all that this is in the Courtney Hill, Green Hill, Heatherhurst Drive area, the post-war neighborhood that we just went through the same scenario for 37 Courtney.
Okay, I'm looking for,
I don't live in a Victorian mansion or anything on the main street, so I feel like it's a
we're
little
familiar
different
with the
too.
neighborhood. I'm looking for the application that had the photograph of windows that are on a bump out toward the back of the property. Maybe along the
That's
drive.
another application.
That's the next one.
That's the last one. That's coming next.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
another application.
That's 15 Locust. Got it. Thank you, everyone. Sorry I'm so thick tonight.
Okay, let me make a proposal to the board. As our supervisor just said, we went through this exact same thing in the immediate neighborhood. It's a post-war home. We went to the code, and the code said that those wood windows that are in desperate need of repair could be replaced by a vinyl window if and only if those windows are not discernible to be vinyl from the public way. So I think we're back to the same issue we wrestled with at the previous in the medium neighborhood. So I think that's the decision the board has to wrestle with first before we send somebody to look at repairing those.
So I would point out there is a difference in material between the Courtney application and this application. We were looking at wood fiber windows in that application, and this is vinyl, but I don't disagree that the concept is the same. Are they discernible as a different type of window than what is there now?
So that's what we put before the board to react to.
It still is my opinion that repair of original windows should be pursued before we make a decision.
I agree.
I would like to discuss some options with the board. Jeff, is that something we can, for repairs, or have someone to come and look? Jeff, is that something we need to do as part of this open meeting, or can we discuss this after our meeting is closed?
I'm not sure of your question, Jenny. Are you saying you want to talk about people we might refer to, or what's the issue?
Yes. I want to have a discussion about individuals that we might recommend to come and make an opinion about repair. And I don't know if that falls under the requirements of the open meeting law or not.
It does, unless it's an attorney-client session.
Okay. This is an open meeting. Could I take 5 minutes or less to have a discussion, or shall we have a special meeting for that discussion?
This is Lisa. Can we continue and let the applicant go, and then at the end of the meeting, maybe do it?
Well, she's not there, and that's part of the open meeting. It's not on the agenda. I'm going to let Jeff decide what we need to do.
All right.
Okay, before we get to that, I think we have to, the board has to make a decision as to whether we follow a principle that had been previously set for a slightly different kind of window, or we ask the applicant to first take a look at some alternative repairs. So I think
Bill, it's slightly different than the last application. We did not have the option of repair for that application.
That's right.
And I would say, to answer Jenny's question, it sounds to me as though the issues you want to discuss or raise with the board in what you termed as a 5-minute chat really are germane to this application. So I don't believe that if they're discussed in the context of this application, it needed to be separately listed as an agenda item.
Okay, I'm just asking you, Jeff, whether it's legitimate to bring this up now. I know the board would probably not want to discuss it right now, but I'm going to leave it to you, Jeff, to make a decision on whether or not it should be brought up now, or can it be brought up after we've reviewed all the applications?
This is
I would think that it's legitimate to bring it up either now or at the end, but if it's germane to this application, why don't we just do it now?
Okay,
this is Lisa Cove. Can I just make a comment? Elizabeth has agreed to take a list of our recommendations, which we have not made up yet, or look into the possibility of replacing with wood. So I think that we should make that, let her, if she's willing to do that, let her do that. And then whatever cumulative list we make up is not just going to be just for Elizabeth. It's going to be for all people who are looking to have windows repaired.
I sort of have an overarching comment associated with that, Lisa. At what point do we say, okay, we're done restoring? Like, do we restore for 200 years? Or, at what point? I mean, if you want to, it's easy to say, let's keep restoring the window, but if you're not living with it, I mean, how long are you going to keep restoring a bad window and not replacing? I guess that's just my overarching question. At what point can we replace it instead of keep restoring it?
Let me answer that. I live in a 150-year-old house. I have restored my windows. So the answer, I think, to your question is you restore it as long as it is practical to be done.
And is it more expensive to keep restoring it, or is it more expensive to replace it? I don't know the answer to that, but that's a really big issue, obviously, right now.
This is Jenny Searle. It will likely be less money to repair the window. I'm not going to say restore, because the era of your house at this point, I think restore is maybe a little lofty for the time your house was built. As you said, this is not a fancy old Victorian. This is a post-war tract house, which has its own value. I don't mean to diminish the value of your home.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. It's not a Victorian mansion that we're restoring here.
Right, but as a general rule, it will always be less expensive to repair the window than to replace it. So
and is it as effective? Is it as energy efficient to restore? That's the other question.
It can be. It certainly can be. So I will.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Steve.
I would like to refer you all, just for a point of fact, to Elizabeth's comment about the expense, to the letter from the gentleman who made comment on 6 Elmbrook windows. If you read the last email that was sent out from him, he deemed that it would be just as expensive to restore/repair broken wood windows as it would to replace with a more newer energy efficient window. That was in his letter from the window expert that you received today.
I understand that, Steve, and I don't necessarily disagree with Steve Jordan's comments. However, it is a fact that it is undoubtedly, it depends, for 3 windows, it's my expectation that it would be less money for her to repair the windows than it is to replace them. And despite the fact that they may not be functioning well for her now. They've been in the house, they are in one piece. I'm trying to find the date of construction for the house, mid 50s, let's say. So that's 70 years. Those windows have been in the house for 70 years. And it's my professional experience in the field of preservation that vinyl replacement windows are going to last you somewhere between 15 and 20 years. And it's very unlikely that you will recoup the cost of the windows and energy savings over that period of time. So my goal here, Elizabeth, is to try to suggest to you a way to save money on the purchase of your windows and maybe save money on the purchase of your windows and still get sufficient energy savings for cost and comfort. And in the end, I may very well say, yes, go ahead and you replace your windows. But without looking at the windows and understanding what the issues are and understanding whether or not they can be repaired is important for this board as a matter of precedent, whether it's in a post-war neighborhood or not.
Should I show videos and pictures of my windows? Would that be helpful so you can see what they look like right now?
No, I'm going to, after we're done with this meeting, the board will have a discussion and we'll get some names together for you.
Okay,
Okay,
I appreciate that.
Then so we're all agreed here that I think that what we're going to do, and Elizabeth will be willing to do that, is that we're going to provide her with some professionals who can take a look at these windows and tell the board and Elizabeth whether it's reasonable to try and repair these or not. Is that not where we are right now? It's the same thing we went through previously almost. And we would owe Elizabeth the names of at least 3 people and different people that can take a look at the situation.
Yes, and this is Lisa Cove. And also, when we do that, Elizabeth, the second piece to this is if for some reason you can't get a hold of somebody or they don't think it's worth repairing, I would ask you to please look into all wood replacement windows as the second option. Okay?
Okay. I will look into those options. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we need to make a motion on this, Jeff?
If we're just tabling this?
You're going to hold it open. No, you don't need a motion. You're just going to hold it open.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, all right. Well, Elizabeth, if that is acceptable to you, we'll get you some names of some people who you can contact.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Okay. So that is tabled for the next meeting. And we will have to get together formally or informally as a board and come up with 3 new names for it. And I think I know at least one. The next issue is 9 Green Hill Lane, also windows.
Wait,
And,
what?
Green Hill, by the way, is in, no, I'm sorry, it's not in the, it's in the historic area of Pittsburgh. Right?
Which,
Bill, you're on to 15 Locust Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
15 Locust.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I doing?
So
15 Locust is also windows.
Right.
And that is in the historic, that is not in the post-war section of town.
This is right down the street from me.
Do we have the applicant on board?
Yeah, we're right here, Chris and Trish Kazakis.
Chris, would you tell us what you're proposing to do, please?
Yeah, so we have an addition on the back of our house, and we've got 2 wood basement windows there, and they're rotting. The wood's rotting, and they don't function very well. They don't, when you open them, they're really hard to close. So we'd like to replace them. Originally, we're thinking, let's just replace some casement windows, but then we thought, well, it makes more sense to try to be more in line with the rest of the house, the historic part of the house. So we're gonna do wood double hung windows and also replace the brick molding that's around the back of those windows to match the flat board molding that's around the windows on the side of the house.
So let me make sure we're clear about it. You're proposing to replace these existing windows with full wood windows that aren't casement, they're double hung, similar to the rest of the windows on the front of the house. These windows are on the side but visible from the street, right? All that correct?
This is Jenny Searle. They're way at the rear of the house.
Yes, yeah, they're kind of hard to see, but.
Oh, I appreciate your side view where you've blocked out where they are. That makes it very helpful.
Yeah.
I'd like to also ask, is that foam that's on the close up of the windows?
That was a desperate attempt to stop.
Okay.
Draft. Yes.
I got nothing to say. They got to go. Those are not repairable windows right there, folks.
Yeah, that would be challenging. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
But I hated repairing them, but my wife won't let me. Jeez.
So do we have any questions from any of the board members? Does anybody have any questions for the applicants?
Chris, have you tried shaping that foam so that it looks a little bit more like what you've got on there?
Recently, I have. When people come out and look at it, I took these pictures. I'm like, that looks pretty embarrassing. So yes, I have to.
Anybody else have any questions, issues, concerns?
Not me.
I think it's pretty clear. So, Lisa, would you make a motion on this for approval?
Yes. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me get my stuff here. At a meeting on the HPB on, what's the date today? November
9.
2020. I make a motion that the HPB approve as submitted the application for windows made by Chris at 15 Locust Street. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Bill McBride.
Okay, roll call. Member McBride?
Yes.
Member Cove?
Yes.
Member Searle?
Yes.
And Member Harrington?
Yes.
And Member Morrow?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
May I make some, may I add some findings of fact?
Sure.
Okay.
The existing windows that are being replaced are modern windows of a style that does not match the historic original windows on the rest of the house. The windows are clearly irreparable, and replacing these windows does not create a negative impact on the resource.
Okay. So be it. Congratulations.
Yeah, Chris, make sure you grab a building permit application offline, right?
Yeah, will do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, there's one final item on the agenda. It's going to be very simple, and that is, and I'm not sure whether Lisa Cove, Lisa Cove needs to excuse herself from this or recuse herself because it concerns the
Active transportation plan.
Right, the active transportation plan, and Lisa was on the board for that. Jeff, can she vote on this?
For seeker. For seeker.
Yeah, we're not, I mean, I don't see why not. Lisa, are you don't have a conflict here. You're not getting anything out of this, are you? You're muted.
No, not that I know of. No, I have no
All right,
conflict.
okay, that's all I need to know. Okay. So I make a motion to approve the village trustees and the town of Pittsford board to have a co-lead agency status for the purpose of seeker compliance for the adoption of the transportation plan and the 2020 supplement. So what we're proposing to do is pass on this authority to the trustees.
I second.
Okay, Member Harrington,
Yes.
Member McBride,
Yes.
Member Cove,
Yes.
Member Searle. Ginny?
Jenny?
Jenny, you're muted.
Jenny?
Yep, sorry, I just realized I'm muted.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Member Morrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion passes. Yep, passes. And then minutes.
Congratulations, trustees. Good.
We have
And
minutes
that's,
too.
with the exception of reviewing last session's minutes, that is so I would like everybody to review the minutes from
October 14th.
October 14th meeting. And do we need time for that review, or everybody ready?
I'm ready.
good.
Ready?
I'm ready. Ken,
Let's
are you
do it.
ready? Mark, you ready?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I said I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. And I make a motion to approve the meetings from the 10/14/2020 HPB meeting as they were formulated.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
Okay, Member McBride,
Yes.
Member Cove,
Yes.
Member Searle,
Yes.
Member Harrington,
Yes.
and Member Morrow.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are done.
So this is Lisa Cove. So Ginny, I mean, I don't have any input as far as who could help restore Windows. So I feel very comfortable with your experience and knowledge to formulate a list with anybody else who feels that they could add, but I certainly have nobody to add to your list. So I am completely happy with you taking that charge and making up a list for the village to have for people to restore Windows.
Yeah,
Well,
I am too. I do have, Jenny, I do have one person whose name I can get to you, and that's the guy who did the Stonehouse windows. Although he
What
may be
Stonehouse?
so,
What Stonehouse are you speaking of, Bill?
the Mason Stonehouse.
Oh.
Lincoln.
I still don't know.
Cobblestone house.
17 Church Street.
Okay, that's G and G Windows did the work there, I believe. Is that right, Steve? Or someone else?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I want to stop right here and say that it's, in my opinion, it's someone who sells windows is not the right person to evaluate whether or not the windows are repairable. And as far as I know, G&G repairs windows, but they also sell windows. So I would like to look into them just a little bit. I know they did a good job, but someone who sells you something is always going to tell you that you need it.
Yep.
That's their job.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but they didn't try and sell the Mason House on new windows. They did a wonderful job. By the way, he didn't get completely paid for that work.
I don't think that's G&G Windows. I think that was another gentleman.
I don't know whether I don't know whether it is or not. I'll find out who it was.
Okay.
So Jenny, I'll find out who that was because I
Okay,
think he did a fine job.
As a result of the Crookers application for railings at their steps, I was impressed by the work of a carpenter there. And I made contact with him, and I've been working with him at my house. He's a very skilled carpenter. All you need is a good carpenter. It's not a specialty, as I can't remember if it was Mark or Ken who talked about restoring, repairing old windows. All it takes is a good carpenter. And I asked, his name is Michael Ferber, and I asked him to build some window screens for my house. He did an excellent job. He built me a wooden countertop with wood from a tree in our house. He's an excellent carpenter, and I've asked him specifically about window repair, and he said he would be willing to do window repair if he was asked to do that. But
okay, put him on the list.
I'm not going to put him on the list without talking to him more about it. I need repair those windows. The most common issues that people have with windows in old houses, and they don't have to be old, 1850 houses. The windows get painted shut, and then people say, can't open my windows. Well, if they're painted shut, you need to break the seal on the paint. That doesn't mean you have to replace the windows.
Right.
You do have to make sure if they're double hung windows that you're using, if they're old windows, really old windows, the weights have to be the proper weight. The size of the sash cord has to be the proper size for the pulley that it goes around. The channels should not be painted. I mean, there's a variety of things that the person all needs to have an understanding of. Now, Steve Swyatt in Buffalo does projects where he's restoring 100 windows or 150 windows. He's not going to come over here and look at one person's house in a mid-century.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Why did we put him on the list then? Why did we put him on the list?
I gave you his name, and that was a mistake.
Okay.
I apologize for that. But if we had a larger project, he might do the project, but he's unlikely to come over for free to look at the windows.
Right. Yeah.
So I understand why those, and I think that the other person that was on the list was someone that maybe Bob Corby knew, who indicated to Bob that he might be willing to look at these windows, and he declined. So I think it's important.
Okay, so I'll do a little homework on the guy that did the Mason house and give you that name unless he's a window guy. I don't think he owns a window company, but I'll check.
I will also say to the board that in my professional life, it was my job to evaluate windows on whether or not they were repairable, and if they were repairable, what those repairs need to be. So I could look at the windows and give an opinion, but it would be my opinion, and I'm on the board, so I don't think that's suitable. But there are other people in the Bureau office, one person in particular who might be qualified and might be willing to do window evaluations. Yes, they can be repaired. No, they can't be repaired, but I would have to check with that individual and see if he would do it.
Okay, good. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think we want to come up with at least 3 people that we pass on to this lady.
Yep. I agree. And Steve Jordan is a good friend of mine, and he's repaired windows since he was in college. He put himself through college doing painting, house painting, and at that time repairing windows before you painted them was part of the paint job. So he's done this for many, many years. But his comment to me, because he called me after the Elmbrook, after he talked to the people on Elmbrook, and he doesn't want to do it because he repairs the windows, but people don't want him there because they want to replace their windows. He's always in an adversarial position, and he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be forced. He doesn't want to be working for someone who's being forced to repair their windows.
Okay, well, we shouldn't have put him on the list then. I'm sorry.
Well, I think he had been on the list for a long time, and I believe I passed on to the board that he no longer wanted to be on the list. So he should come off the list. We can work on this, but the other thing the board needs to understand is that replacement windows in the mid-century modern houses, the wood is it's just not as good as the old growth wood, and the windows are not likely to be very repairable. However, applicants should also know and understand that the useful service life, that's the term we use in preservation, or in architecture and construction, in any regarding anything. Every material, every part that goes into the building has a useful service life, and replacement windows have a useful service life of about 20 to 25 years. And one of the biggest issues is that if they're double pane windows, the seal on those windows fails, and then all of the energy efficiency value of the double pane window is gone. And
I understand that, Ginny, and agree with you, but the question is that an element that this board has any jurisdiction or responsibility over?
Yes.
How long they will last?
No, how long they will last is perhaps not in our purview, but educating the applicants and providing information like that is part of our charge. Education is part of our job as a board.
Right.
Okay.
And I just like to say that right there is what I've been waiting to say, is that this guy at 6 Elmbrook probably could have done his windows for like 20% of what he's paying if he had had a useful guide on how to do it. And they would have been energy efficient. The old windows, they would have been great. But, you know, he's spending, what do you say, $30,000 on less than half of his house?
But
you know,
all the rest,
outrageous.
all the
He
rest
should
of
have
the
been
windows,
one of the voluntary people.
all the rest of the windows on his house have been replaced. You know, I don't want to hold him up for that.
No, that's not the point. The point is, let's say he spent $30,000 on 40% of his house, so doing the whole house was $70,000. He could have done, you know, had a carpenter come in and probably fix his windows for no more, fix his windows and make them draft proof for no more than $15,000. And it would have been one of these, what you call voluntary jobs he's not being forced to do if he knew how to do it.
But he was not the one who replaced all the other windows. The previous owner replaced all the other windows.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Steve?
So let's not drag this on forever. What we're going to try and do is give Ginny any thoughts that we might have in who she can recommend to this lady, who can take a look at those windows, who's not a window salesman, and decide whether and how they're repairable, right?
Yep.
So Ginny, we owe you any thoughts that we can give you on appropriate people.
Yep.
And
Sounds
you're
like
going to look for.
Ken might know somebody. Ken?
My guy, I'm sure, is retired, But my point about my guy was he was a carpenter.
Right,
That's what he was.
right.
You need a
Good. Okay,
carpenter,
we'll
you
give
need
your
a,
name to Ginny.
you need a
Yep.
skilled carpenter who has done it before.
Correct. And one of the things
I agree.
you're gonna give people a name of somebody who's just gonna tell them, yes, they're repairable, and then they're still stuck in a way. So I think you also need to put a list together of comparable carpenters who have done this. So if you're gonna make people go get another opinion or do another process, we also should be responsible enough to give them names of both. Because somebody's just gonna say, yeah, they're repairable, goodbye.
No. I will try to put together a list of yeah, I think you have to have somebody, I think you have to have, it'll be two people. One person independently to say whether or not they're repairable, and then individuals who can make the repairs and give them a price for the repairs. And a carpenter might very well say, yes, they're repairable because he wants the job. It's the same sort of thing as the window salesman saying, no, they're not repairable. You need all new windows. There's no
Well,
difference.
Ginny, let me make this point. The guy that did the Mason House, who is a friend of one of our previous members, not only went in and evaluated how and if this could be done, but he did the work, and he did it, I'm told, very well and very reasonably.
No, $1,800 a window. It wasn't
Is that what he ended up charging?
Over $1,800 a window for each window.
You know that for a fact, huh?
I would have to
Wow.
say, I was in that building and I looked at those windows. They were very unique and very I'm sure, well, they were not the ordinary window repair. Those windows, when I was in the building, the guy who was flipping the house said, well, these windows won't even stay up. Well, they didn't even understand that those windows had pins on the stiles of the window. That's the side pieces of the window. They had pins, and you pulled the pins out and you lifted the windows and you let go, and the pins went into holes in the window jamb, and that's how they were held up.
I was there with you, Ginny, when we looked at that, and it was a major job that he had to do.
They had the repairs required on those windows to bring them up to modern expectations was far beyond the ordinary historic window you're going to find in this community.
Yep,
So $1,800 a window doesn't surprise me for those, but I also think that's far and above what people are likely to find otherwise.
Yep, I agree. So I'm going to get you his name.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else. That's all I wanted to discuss, was getting some proper names of reasonable carpenters.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think we've discussed this enough. Unless anybody has anything else, I'm going to close this meeting.
Bill, before you close, if I can address the board real quick.
Okay.
Real quick, is everybody received a phone call from me last week regarding our email issues? The previous week, it's all, we are still having email issues. Time Warner or Spectrum, as they keep changing their name, is no longer going to carry the service we have. So I'm forced to move our emails. So I will keep everybody appraised, but I'm hoping to start the process this week, if not early next week, to another carrier. So we might lose emails for a day or two. Okay.
Oh, good, Dorothea, because I am not getting any of the village emails. I can't
Yeah, I see yours bounced back, Lisa, because I sent you the village agenda and it bounced back. So I think that's part of what's going on. And
Oh,
I
good.
apologize, but Spectrum never even let me know and started the process and just dropped us. So for a while, we had no email. So we at least have email right now. It's not the greatest at the moment, but it will get better. And I just letting you know. So if you can't reach or you're not hearing from Steve or me or the office and you're looking for something, give us a call.
By the way,
Okay?
I'm having trouble with my Spectrum. We're having trouble with our Spectrum emails too.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know why, but they're dropping it completely. So I'm on the hunt and I have someone, I just got to get them up and running. So we're working on the process.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think we got through some good issues tonight, and I think we handled it very well. I congratulate everybody for making great contributions. And with that, I would like to close this meeting of the HPB as of 7:35 today. Okay?
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Night.
Night.